Today I'm excited to show you a really cool knife multi-tool that I ran across, and this is an excellent design and it gives me hope for the future of multi-tool design, so let's jump into this. All right, so let's dive into a little bit about this knife, this multi-tool right here, and then we'll talk about the company and wrap it up with a summary of why this may be the product that can turn this company around. Now, one of the things that I love about this, first of all, is that it is extremely lightweight. I cannot express to you how lightweight this is, how lightweight it feels. I'm not sure what the scale will say. Let's go ahead and bring this in. But that's one of the first things that really caught my eye. I've been wearing this week. I have a full Leatherman Surge on my belt, and I have still stuck this in my pocket because I don't care. It comes in at 5.2 ounces, or it comes in at 146 grams. So very similar to the weight of a Leatherman Skeletal, which is not very much. So this right here is a flipper knife, and you can flip this open pretty quick. Sheep's foot blade. Perhaps for those who may have some stricter knife restrictions, it looks like it's about 2 3/4 inches. So it may perhaps be legal in some areas where 3 inches would not be legal. And then you have a reverse or a pocket clip that can either be on either side rather. So I know a lot of people like that as well. And then they talk about this being glass reinforced handles, but they essentially feel more like a G10. I really like the handles. That's another really positive feature. Now, it's got this really cool tool on the end. This will remind you a lot of the Gerber, the pry, and then, of course, this is like to pry up nails and so forth. And then I think one of these is considered a screwdriver, although it might be a little difficult to use as that. And then you use this capability right here, and it becomes either a caliper or an adjustable wrench. Now, admittedly, it's not a huge range in size. Let's go ahead. It looks like about 3/4 of an inch, a little bit less. It definitely isn't going to be handling huge bolts, but I thought that was a pretty clever way to do that. I'm not sure how effective this will be as an adjustable wrench, but it doesn't look extremely skinny, so it might work. I've been carrying this at work, but I haven't really had a chance to use it on some nuts and bolts around the workplace yet, so I'll go ahead and probably continue to carry this. Now, I really like the design of the black and the green. That's pretty cool. All these, pretty cool design features. And then one of my favorite things is you've got a bit driver on the end of this knife. Now, I think that's pretty clever because it's not a full bit driver. And so you can deploy the knife actually through that bit driver. That is really clever. I have never seen, SOG does something similar with its pliers, but its pliers come together. But this is where the knife actually goes right through the bit driver, but then because of those notches on the side, you can use that bit driver. Now, this is something that I could definitely see taking over the EDC world, because why not? It just adds capability to your knife. Why won't everyone do that? That's really cool. And I feel like it holds it pretty firmly, not as firmly as a full 1/4 inch bit driver would that's surrounded on every side. Yes, there's possibilities you could probably split the knife apart if you ran to something that was really difficult. So you need to be careful because you are exerting pressure. But for just light items, you've got to know the capability of your tool. That could be very, very handy. So I really like that. I think that's cool. A big fan of that used in the correct context, realizing that this won't be used as a huge screwdriver. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So I will continue to use this, and I'll probably do an update a little bit later on. Now, in the handle, there is a wire stripper right here. All right, let's see how this works. So potentially you should be able to use this knife on here, and it didn't work. All right, let's try this again. Use this. All right, cutting through, cutting through, cutting through, cutting through, and didn't work. I am not sure I'm a huge fan of these holes right here. I have not used these a lot, but I feel like that's probably not one of the best aspects of this knife. I don't feel like I'm able to exert quite enough pressure on this. Oh, it actually worked. Okay, so it did work there. I think it's something that it would definitely take a little bit of practice to learn how to do, but I guess, yeah, I'm still not sure if that's a gimmick or not. It seems a little gimmicky to me, but maybe not. Maybe not. This is a lot larger wire right here. Are we doing anything? I don't know that I can see. Yeah, it looks, yeah, I guess we are. Yeah, there we go. So it did work there. All right, so I think it took me a little while to learn how to do this. You do have to push down a fair amount. I'm not sure how forgiving that will be on your knife blade. This tool comes in around $40. One of the things I forgot to mention was you do have a ruler on this side, and then on the opposite side, it does come in inches. I really like this tool. I feel like they have packed a lot into a very small package. And then with the calipers, as you unloosen it right there, then you do have markings so you can find what size of bolt in metric and inches as well, or a nut that you need. I think that could be very helpful. I could actually use that at work, I think, a lot of times. Maybe even measuring outside diameter for some smaller copper tubing that could perhaps be useful. Yeah, so I think that overall is a very useful tool. This is called the Smart Knife, the True Smart Knife, and I think this perhaps is one of the best designs that True Utility, they're just called True now, but True Utility has come up with. Now, I have had True before. This was their titanium multi-tool, and one of the big things about this that I really liked was the locking bit driver, and then it had this lever right here. It was very minimalistic. My first one did not lock into place. I did end up getting a second one, and it did lock into place. So I was really hesitant about recommending this company because it seemed like very hit and miss quality. They have some pretty cool designs, and I feel like especially with this Smart Knife, this is pretty impressive. I have seen a lot of knife designs that try to incorporate a lot of multi-tools around them, and hardly ever are they done as well as this one. So overall, I really like this tool. I like the direction that True is heading. I do think maybe this should have just been an adjustable wrench, and maybe the pry tool is a little excessive to expect that to be useful. I would have preferred more just an adjustable wrench, but all in all, I am pretty impressed with his design, and I'm excited to keep using it and see how I like it. So I will try to do a follow-up review eventually. Now, while I was looking at this packaging, this is the Smart Knife WR, and then talking about different things we've gone over. It does say designed in Texas, even though these are made in China, I'm pretty sure. And then they clarify this as a 2.5 inch 15 or 5CR15 MOV actually, with black oxide, and then FRN, fiberglass reinforced handle or reinforced nylon handle, and tip down carry, and then blade, wrench, calipers, bit driver, number 2 Phillips, wire strippers, ruler, and pry bar. Yeah, I really like this. The wire strippers are 10 to 12, 14 to 16, and 18 to 20. So there is a range with that. All right, let me know what you think about this, and a ton of more reviews coming out this week, so make sure to keep watching the channel.